It's over 9,000!
Welcome, everyone, to the Final Forum podcast, our casual catch-up that we do every once in a while.
And a little bit of mustard.
That was terrible. I love it.
Good. I'm glad you approved.
I am your host, Jelly.
And this is the Bekinney.
And yeah, we're gonna talk about some stuff. I mean, there was some pretty big Dragon Ball news recently. Some fairly kind of huge Dragon Ball news, actually, but we're just this is our first time back, and we're recording this on February 1st. This is our first time back recording since before Christmas. So to give you a little peek behind the curtains on how well prepped we are when it comes to making sure we've got episodes and content to release to everyone. There's been no interruption in our service, but we have not been recording together for quite some time, and that's a fairly annual thing at this point. It's between the holidays and then, like, I live out of state from my family, so I end up having people in town for a long time, and then usually, like, almost on cue, and it happened again this year, the Buffalo Bills tear my heart out so bad and show it to me beating in front of my face as I scream in pain that I genuinely feel like I can't even think about getting back into being like have fun podcast guy for at least another full week after that.
I mean, it wasn't a full week for me. It was more like a couple days, maybe.
I definitely like that weekend. I would not have like.
Oh yeah, I'd have been inconsolable.
That weekend, there was a Dragon Ball trivia in town, about probably half an hour from where I live, maybe 45 minutes. And I had been like, "Oh, we should go. Like, we'll clean up." And
sure.
And it'll be like a good opportunity to be like, "Hey, I have a Dragon Ball podcast. Check it out. Listen to it." And I was just like, "I'm just gonna drink and be sad."
Understandable.
I feel like the only time that's not happened over the last like 6 years is that game against the Bengals where they got blown off the field. Because if you're not a sports fan, what I'll say is if your team gets like blown away and never has a chance, it's so much easier to handle than if your team comes that close and falls short. Yeah. That rips your heart out.
That's been an issue for the Bills for a few seasons now.
Yeah, it's to equate it to something like if you don't sports at all, but you like watch a ton of movies, as a for instance, it is better to watch a movie that is terrible through and through and get some entertainment out of the ironic terribleness than it is to watch a movie almost be really good and then screw it up at the end and make you mad right at the end. I would rather watch Dragon Ball fight Son Goku, win Son Goku all day, every day than go back to 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Fair.
There's my very loose metaphor.
I'm surprised it didn't involve Godzilla in some way.
I'd rather watch, I don't know. I'd rather watch like almost any Godzilla movie than King of the Monsters. But that movie's not almost good. It just sucks. Aside from that, we've had a little bit of like, so the weekend right before the Bills ripped my guts out, I got a call from Charlie's Collectible Show, which I think is normally based out of Atlanta, and they're expanding into Houston. They're like a convention provider, convention promoter. And they like organize and promote conventions, and they get the guests and everything. And I got a call from them saying, "Hey, you're in Houston. Would you host a Dragon Ball podcast?" And they said, "Can you tell me about it?" And I told them about our show and what we do and what we're all about. And they said, "Hey, you're really well spoken. Would you like to do a Q&A live on stage with Cynthia Kranz and Tiffany Vollmer?" So I at least got to do that. That was really cool. The convention itself, and like I said, this was provided by CCS Houston, or Charlie's Collectible Show Houston. It was a very small con, and they definitely could use, like, you could tell this was like kind of their first. They're still ironing out all the details, kind of. There were some tech issues. The schedule wasn't 100% buttoned up. I ended up having the Q&A, a panel, and hosted the cosplay showcase. So I felt like, okay, I'm a comfortable, confident enough speaker that I'm gonna get us, like, I'm gonna get everything back on schedule. Don't worry. and I kind of did.
Nice.
So. But aside from that, like, it was pretty well run in general. Like, it was very small. It was just like a one-room convention, but I think it's kind of like, if they were to call me again, I would show up again. Right? If they were running another Dragon Ball or anime convention in Houston in a couple weeks, I would apply to speak again. It was a good experience from that point of view. So some hiccups, I would say like we went and did what was that called? Fan Fest?
Fan Expo, you mean?
Fan Expo. Yeah, we went and did Fan Expo in Denver. That was an extremely, extremely well-run convention.
I'll say. I've
done several others. This was better run than some of the worst ones, for sure. Okay. But not at that, like, that Fan Expo, though, is like a massive enterprise.
Yeah, I think they do multiple cities and stuff.
Yeah. So they're kind of like, I don't know, maybe they're terrible. I don't know. I haven't, like, looked into, maybe they're run by the Epstein Island or something, but don't take that serious. Please do not take that out of context. But, like, maybe they're a bad, like, maybe you're not supposed to like Fan Expo, but for me, they're kind of the bar of, like, oof, they're really well organized and really well run, and
Mm-hmm.
And I would say Charlie's Collectibles, not quite up to that standard, but certainly I've experienced significantly worse in my. This was probably the 10th one I've done. So I would, if you have a Charlie's Collectibles show pop up around you and you get a chance to go, it's probably worth checking it out, especially because this one at least was free. And I think they do nice. They do a few where, because they're only doing for them for like a day, it's free. And so then the only thing you have to pay for is if you want to meet someone or you want to buy something.
Okay.
So,
well, low barrier to entry. It should be pretty popular.
Yeah, it was a fun time. So, if you have a Charlie's Collectible show pop up around you, I would, and it seems like it might be interesting, I'd check it out, because it might not be bad, especially if you get some good guests like me.
Wouldn't be the same podcast without the shameless self-promotion.
Hey, I do what I can. So yeah, that's kind of why we've been away for a bit. We've had a few things going on to the good, some holiday shenanigans, some miserable soul-sucking depression. And then it just takes a minute to get warmed back up and get back into it. But I don't know what else you got going on. Are you have you started watching anything
Yeah,
or
so I recently watched Evangelion for the first time. Haven't seen the movies yet, but I finished the series.
okay, did you watch
Uh,
End of Evangelion? The
no, I have not watched that yet either. That's
okay.
still something I have to see.
Cuz
Um,
that's like the actual end of the original Evangelion.
okay. I was a little confused about the end of the series, so that would make sense. Um, Overall, I thought it was a pretty fun show. Definitely a product of its time. Um, they played with a lot of really fun concepts. What's really interesting about that show to me is I preferred the scenes where it was the adults talking about like what's going on in their lives as opposed to focusing on the kids that pilot the mechas. Um, but that that's just me.
Fun is an
Uh,
interesting adjective to use for Evangelion, considering it's like
yeah, considering it's depression incarnate, yeah,
yeah.
it's probably a little weird to say it's fun, but I guess what I mean to say is I enjoyed the show for what it
Hmm.
was. I'm currently starting my, I think I said fourth in the Discord, but it might be third instead of fourth. Rewatch of Gurren Lagann, which is the other Gainax mecha anime. Um, and I love that one just because of the goofiness of it and the over the topness. Just I don't know, it's like magical to me. Uh, Almost done with Fallout Season 2. I think there's like one more episode that needs to come out at this point.
Okay.
Uh, I
I never
think
played the
that's pretty
Fallout
much.
games, so
I mean, I've dabbled in them. I've played a lot of 3 and 4. I should probably go back and play the first two. I haven't done that yet. And I've played a little New Vegas as well. Uh, so far, I've been enjoying it. It's pretty good, I think.
it's good.
They touch on like a lot of the lore, and this is kind of like one of those things where like watching it with my wife has been kind of fun because she obviously has barely touched any video games, let alone Fallout. So all the little lore Easter eggs that I know, I get to info dump on her and add some extra context to what's going on in the scenes and stuff like that. So that's been fun.
Hmm. Hmm.
Other than that, also slowly tearing my house apart because my roof is leaking.
Yeah, you said that right before. Yeah, that's roofing stuff is up there in terms of things you don't ever want to have happen
I see what you did there.
when you own a house. So,
Roofing stuff is
oh,
indeed up there.
oh, up there. Yeah, I didn't even see what I did there. Uh, but yes, it's high on the list of stuff that you don't want to have happen in your house. That and plumbing. Um,
Plumbing I'm comfortable with. I've done plumbing before. Roofing stuff I've never done. So that's new territory for me.
that's where I would say like your top three in any house are like roofing, plumbing, and electrical.
Yeah.
And for me, I would go roofing, electrical, then plumbing in terms of like my, I guess, like confidence in my ability to fix it myself.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's pretty much my ranking as well.
you
I don't
know,
like being up high in the first place and potentially falling off my own house is not something I want to do.
like I've had burst pipes and things because I live in Houston, and when it gets cold, it's not supposed to get cold. so
Yeah.
so things happen, and I mean it's not fun when it happens, but like because I live in a place where it's not supposed to get cold, when it does get cold, your job, like my jobs always at least have been like stay home. So
Hmm.
so I'm always here when the sprinkler pipe bursts or something.
Yeah.
And so the water damage is like almost always non-existent, and it's more just like, okay, I got to go turn the water off, and then I got to make sure I have the pieces to replace it. And it's usually like at the end of the day, fixing some plumbing is almost like a jigsaw puzzle type of thing. Like,
A little bit, yeah. You just need to make sure you're getting where you get where you need to go, and that everything is tightened properly, and you have everything glued correctly.
right. And then electrical, it's like, yeah, I can like change out an outlet, and I can like strip the end of a wire and make sure that it's wrapped around like a new core, a new outlet and things like that. But I'm not like pulling wiring.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not messing with the breaker box.
Yeah, no, not in any real way, right? Like,
Yeah,
like
I'll flip a breaker,
yeah,
but that's about it.
I'll go out there and flick it, but I'm not pulling that thing off the wall.
No, not at all.
And then the roof, yeah, I don't know. Everything stays.
I currently don't even have a ladder that'll get me up onto my roof, which is the extra little fun complication there.
Yeah. I do. I've been up on my roof because we had wasps getting into the house consistently, and I wanted to see if I could easily see like where, like, oh, if there's a giant nest just sitting right outside, I can grab a can of Raid and
Yeah.
Didn't see anything, had to call a guy, and he was like, yeah, it's like in your chimney. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's rough.
But yeah, so roofing stuff is no bueno. But yeah, oh man, like I feel like in terms of entertainment stuff, I got a lot. I'm more of a movie guy than a TV guy. So like that's every time you're like, oh, I'm starting this show or that show, I feel like I am almost never starting a show or ending a show or watching a show. Although my daughter came home from a sleepover and said, Dad, have you ever heard of Hunter x Hunter? And I was like, Hunter? Yeah, I've heard of that. And she's like, it's Hunter x Hunter. And I was like, it's not actually. But she had watched several episodes while at like a sleepover, and she's like, can we watch that? And I was like my kid wants to get into something that I would be interested in. Hell yeah. So we've watched like 15 episodes over the course of like 4 days so far. So we're getting into that. Other than that, like I haven't really watched any shows. But since the last time we've done one of these, I think we did one of these after I had seen Predator Badlands, so I won't get too deep into that except to say that was good. Del Toro's Frankenstein was good, I thought.
Mm-hmm. I still have to watch that one.
I saw Avatar, Fire and Ash. That was good. If you liked the second one, it was good.
Okay.
I watched the movie Good Boy. I don't know if you heard about this.
Yeah, that's the horror movie from the perspective of the dog, right?
Yeah. It was good. It was not, I don't want to, like, once you figure out that it's not really like a horror movie, and you kind of figure out kind of what's going on because it's from the perspective of the dog, it becomes a little bit more of a drama, but it kind of hits you with that like man's best friend type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I went and saw Primate. That's the movie with the killer chimp. Oh, okay. If you went to the movies at all in the months of like November or December, you saw the trailer for this movie because it was playing in front of like everything. And it's just an ape that gets rabies and starts killing everyone in his family that he lives with. And the reason he lives with this family is because he's like an intelligent, like he science. And the mom of the family had been doing like research with like teaching apes to speak. But so he gets rabies and just kills everyone. And it was like, it's not a good movie, but it's a good movie. That type of movie.
Okay. I gotcha.
I saw Nobody 2. That was okay. It doesn't quite capture the magic of the first one. I saw Bugonia. I liked Bugonia. I didn't love Bugonia.
Okay.
But that's from Yorgos Lanthimos. And it stars Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. And Jesse Plemons is like convinced that Emma Stone is an alien, so he kidnaps her.
Yeah, I think I've seen some trailers for this.
Yeah. It was good. I want to see, it's a remake actually of like a Korean film called Save the Green Planet that I want to see. So that was good. I saw One Battle After Another. That was good. That's the Leo movie, um, directed by, who's the director? Paul Thomas Anderson, and it's good. That one's good. I liked that.
Okay.
And then I went and saw 28 years later, The Bone Temple, and that was spectacular.
Okay. I've been kind of putting off on that one. I guess I'll have to move it up the queue a
If
bit.
you saw 28 years later and you liked it,
I did.
I thought this was better.
Okay.
It's still got a good undercurrent of like character and heart to it. Like I thought 28 years later was like much more of like a character like dramatic piece almost. And this still has that like undercurrent through it, but it ramps up the horror quite a bit. Like there's a couple of scenes that are really uncomfortable watches, which as a horror hound, I enjoy. Ralph Fiennes is spectacular in it. He is so good in it. And,
as he is in just about every role he's in.
Yeah. And it's just like it really does a great job with like hitting you with like a kind of a wealth of like emotions. Like there's some good horror in it, there's some good heart in it, there's some good humor in it. So it like runs kind of the gamut there. It might end up being my favorite movie of the year, and I saw it on January 24th.
Wow. Okay.
Like that's how much I
calling
really
that
liked
shot
it.
really early.
Yeah, that's how much I really liked it though. Like I liked it that much that it is. I gave it a 5 out of 5. Like I
Nice.
loved it.
Okay.
And I gave 28 years later the first one a 4.5. So there definitely were a couple things in the Bone Temple where I was like, but they like didn't bother me type of thing. Like I don't think there's any such thing as an actually perfect movie. You know, like
Okay.
I'd give Jurassic Park a 5 out of 5 also, but is Jurassic Park perfect? No, there's tons of flaws in it.
Sure.
So I tend to rate things more just on how enjoyable I find them.
I mean, in my opinion, I feel like that's probably the most honest way to rate things. Because I mean, if you're not enjoying it while you're watching it, even if you consider it to be a perfect movie, then what's the point?
And then I saw another like I saw a little movie called The Surrender that's on Shudder about a mother and daughter who lose the patriarch of the family and try to get him back via a seance, and things go sideways, and like the whole third act of the movie takes place in like the astral plane, except it's like just very stripped down and dark and dark like visually.
Yeah.
And it worked for me. Like I'm a big fan, and I've seen a handful of movies that have done this. So I'm a big fan of like anytime someone messes around and like with a Ouija board or the spirit realm or a seance or anything like that, and they summon up something of like when you black out everything else and you only have the main character kind of lit up, and you just see like little flashes of like limbs or teeth or eyes or something like just beyond the edge of the light. I think that's a really effective scary method.
That does sound pretty spooky.
And so like I liked that.
What was the name of that movie?
The Surrender.
Okay, check it out.
And then the other one I just watched it last night, that was really good. But I feel like I would almost like need to know more of the context or something. There's such heavy like cultural context on it that you can feel it, but I didn't, and I kind of got it because it's like, it's not like it's subtle, but at the same time, it just didn't like hit emotionally with me. It was just an accident, and it's about a group of Azerbaijani people who think that they have come across the Iranian man who had tortured them while they were like political prisoners.
Oh.
And they're like, each one has a different level of doubt about whether they've found the guy. And there's like a lot of, so it ends up being a lot of like debating of like, what should we do? Like, this guy imprisoned us, and we were blindfolded, and he stole years of our lives, and or did he? And so it's like, it's not like it's subtle or anything. You get it, but at the same time, I don't know enough about that history to be like, to really really get it. You know what I mean?
I get you. Yeah. A lot of cultural context is missing.
Yes. But I could see how, like, if you do know the history between those two peoples, it probably is like super, super impactful and hard hitting. And I know the filmmaker was actually like an Iranian political prisoner. So it's like semi autobiographical, I think, from that perspective of like, it's a very personal type of story for him.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a, what would I do if I found my torturers type of thing. So, it's very good, but it just, I felt just slightly arm's length distanced from it.
Makes sense.
But it was really good. I would recommend it if it sounds interesting. So yeah, I watch movies. That's what I do.
Clearly.
Especially when I don't have football to watch anymore. Not bitter though.
No, not at all. No bitterness here.
But it is good. It's good to be back. It's good to be back recording. It's good to be thinking about Dragon Ball again and talking about Dragon Ball again and doing some of our...
We've got fun new stuff about Dragon Ball to talk about now.
And doing some of our notes and recaps and things. And we got some cool stuff coming up on the show in the future. And I hopefully made some decent enough impressions on Miss Vollmer and Miss Kranz to be able to get them on our show. Because with the technical issues, I wasn't able to record like I usually do when I go to these conventions, but like I said, hopefully we'll get them on our show. And so that's something to look for in 2026. I would say also, let's see what else we've got next month. We've got our Tenkaichi tournament, our March Madness tournament, which is always a fun time. And I'm not 100%. I don't know if we've 100% landed on it, but I'm thinking we're leaning towards the dating game thing.
Okay.
And then what else do we got? Oh, we've got something to look forward to this year, but it won't be for a while, but it'll be this year. This year we are going to hit the driving episode.
Yes.
And we've got something really fun planned for when we do that. So be on the lookout for that too. And then, since we're doing news and Dragon Ball news, let's talk about it. I'm sure everyone knows, I hope, I guess, at least at this point, everyone kind of knows about it. But on January 25th in Tokyo, at the Makuhari Messe Convention Center outside of Tokyo, just outside of Tokyo, was the Dragon Ball Genkidamatsuri event, which is a portmanteau right on the Genkidama or the spirit bomb, and Matsuri, which is the Japanese word for festival, which, we talk about like the Toei Manga Matsuri, the film festival, all the time. So our listeners should be familiar with that. And they had a 40th anniversary special convention where they did a bunch of announcements and stuff, and people were speculating for a long, long time beforehand that it would be the point where they would announce a new movie, the return of Dragon Ball Super, the season 2 of the anime, a new game, a whole bunch of other things. And we had released an episode being like, hey, let's like pump the brakes on all this because there's still all these legal battles.
Yep.
I do want to say, as we'll get through the news, we'll kind of talk about it more and more. I think we were maybe a little overly pessimistic and a little overly pump the brakes-ish, but at the same time, I definitely still think there's an element to which we were a little bit right to be like, hey, pump the brakes. And that element is, we'll talk about that right off the bat. That element is there were several big announcements. Not one of them was that the manga is returning.
Yeah.
The manga that has been on hiatus since Akira Toriyama passed in 2024. No news about its return. Right? He passed in 2024, right?
Oh no. How could we get this wrong? I don't know.
Because the manga's been on hiatus for like almost 2 years now. And not a word of news about it returning. And yes, it's
March 1st, 2024.
March 1st, 2024. And so I think that still gives some credence to this, like, nobody quite knows how to approach the creation of something 100% new in Dragon Ball still just yet. And we'll kind of, as we get through each piece of the news, we'll talk about kind of how that still holds true, right? And people might say, well, Daima was new, but Daima was in production before Toriyama passed. So
yeah,
that's where kind of like they didn't in this news. Not only did they not say that Super the manga was returning, they also did not say that there was going to be a new movie at all. Which a lot of people thought was like a slam dunk type of thing. Even I was like, yeah, they'll probably announce a new movie, but not anything else, like I thought a new movie was actually going to be a slam dunk because it just seems like, yeah, you just crank out one of those 90-minute movies where a bunch of guys fight and punch each other and collect money. Like,
sure, why not?
But it definitely seems like there's still some where there's uncertainty about creating something 100% new.
Yeah.
But so we'll take these news items and I'm gonna tackle them probably not in necessarily the order they were announced, but we'll kind of go through them in the order that I have maybe the most to say about them. So that starts with, I think I have the least to say. I don't know about you, but like they announced that there's going to be a whole bunch of new DLC for Sparking Zero.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Neat. I haven't played Sparking Zero actually since it's been released still. I'm not a big gamer. Actually, we talk about like some of the things that we were kind of doing and catching up or whatever. I did actually purchase Silksong, and I've been playing through that, and I find that very fun, but then I probably won't play a game for a while after I finish that. Yeah, I'm not a big gamer. I think it's neat. Like, I think it's cool that I think it's pretty neat that Dragon Ball games wind up with this like kind of long shelf life, right? Like Xenoverse 2 still gets DLC, and Kakarot still gets DLC. Like, as a very casual person on the outside, it's neat to be like, to kind of think like, okay, well, if I buy this game, like I've got years and years worth of like support for it,
Yeah. It helps with the accounting, I guess, deciding whether it's worth the price tag.
Right. So neat, but I don't have a whole lot to say about it.
Yeah, I have not played any Sparking Zero either, but I share the same sentiments as you. Glad it's still getting support, and I'm glad it's still got a huge fan base.
It seems maybe a little less than either Kakarot or Xenoverse, though. I will say that.
Well, it's still there, though.
Yes. The next bit of news was that there's going to be a new video game called Age 1000, and this is the one project that I guess flies most in the face of like nobody wants to create anything new, but they did say in their like release announcement that this has been in production for a couple of years already, and that Toriyama designed the new characters in it. And so there may be like, I don't know how true it is that they've been actually working on this game for years. That seems odd that we wouldn't have heard about it already.
I think it depends on, well, I mean, I haven't seen much of the game itself, so it's hard.
Well, they just announced that it like exists, right? Like,
well, I mean, because they have clips of some stuff, but from what I can tell, it doesn't look to be like actual gameplay. It's more like cutscenes, which kind of implies that the game is sort of at a more finished stage, so I could see it being in production for a few years at this point. I think the current thought on it is that it's supposed to be an MMO RPG of some sort.
Yep, that's the
and I think it's supposed to be like, if not a direct successor, like a spiritual successor to like Dragon Ball Online, which was a similar format.
Yep. Yeah. And that's, when you talk about ages in Dragon Ball, everything that happens in the Dragon Ball story that we know happens somewhere around like age 720, somewhere around that range of time, somewhere 700, 750, somewhere in there. Age 1000 would then be like 200 years later. So you are removed from pretty much all the characters that you know, which like that's kind of a neat idea. I'm glad an idea, for me personally, I'm glad an idea like that is relegated to a game, because I personally, me, Jelly, the host of Final Forum, and I say this not as a representative of Final Forum, I say this as me, just me. I don't personally care about Dragon Ball without Goku. I think Dragon Ball is Goku's story.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So, but this is the one where I think, like, you talk about, like, this is the one that flies the most in the face of we're not going to do anything new. But I will say, to kind of put the credence back on it, is this is, if it really was like some level of Toriyama beforehand, there's maybe a legal loophole there to be like, oh, this was already existing.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right, so it's not technically new.
Fair. I'll accept that.
So, there, like, if we're talking about there still being like if there's still legal holdups for them not bringing back the Super manga because Toriyama, like, that's the, like, it's almost like they can only work on stuff that Toriyama already worked on.
Yeah.
And so,
there was
like,
probably some existing agreement or something to be able to use his work.
Right. And there's nothing dictating, like, who would own Dragon Ball stuff that Toyotaru creates. So, yeah, they're able to pilfer Toriyama's drawers, so to speak. This is slated for release sometime in 2027, and there'll be more news about it at like a games event in April of this year. So,
okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more info on that.
Mm-hmm. Also at this, they premiered like a 5-minute 40th anniversary video thing with music that was done by Hans Zimmer. And it was okay. I had, like, everyone was really fawning over it, and I had kind of some, Like, I don't know how you felt watching it. I definitely felt there were times where I was watching it and going, "Ooh, is that AI animated?"
I get what you mean. I had similar thoughts. I don't know if they're correct or not, but I definitely got that feeling from it.
They did credit animators afterwards. So hopefully, and there has been no, like, all of the claims or thoughts of it being AI have just been people who are like, listen, there's just some, it's a tad odd that there was no shot that lasted longer than like 5-6 seconds, and that the animation was a little bit like kind of repetitive in terms of the motion on some of the shots. Like, very specifically on some of them, it was just the ones where like it looked like they were trying to bring the manga to life,
Yeah.
where it felt like, ooh, are they just like telling, Mid-Journey to like, hey, animate this picture? Because that's what it kind of looked like.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from on that one. It
Um,
seemed a little off in some spots.
yeah. But then at the end of that video, they announced that that Super is in fact coming back, and they are continuing it with the Dragon Ball Super Galactic Patrol arc, which, if you haven't paid attention to the manga, that is the story arc from the manga that took place after the Tournament of Power. It is, from my estimation, in terms of just, seeing chatter online and visiting forums and things like that, it is the most well-liked arc from the Dragon Ball Super manga by Toyotaro.
Okay.
Everyone seems to really, really like it, and they didn't really show anything from it, but it is, of all the announcements of everything that came out of this is the one where I'm like, I am almost entirely just positive.
Nice.
Right? Like, I think it's exciting. I also think it's a really good arc. I can't wait for like people who don't read manga to check it out, because I do think it's really good. I think there's some really good stuff in it. Some great Goku moments, some really good Vegeta moments, a really cool villain actually with Moro, who I think is really cool in a lot of different ways. Most notably, his design is pretty unique.
I've seen a couple shots. It's a good looking villain.
Yeah. So, I think there's some really cool stuff with this. There's some use of Majin Buu actually, for people who, were mad that like the Tournament of Power didn't use him that much. There's some really, it's a very good saga. They haven't announced anything about it though, in terms of like exactly when it's going to happen, although all signs point to like 2027. They haven't announced the episode count on this one, but I would think at least 12.
Yeah, it's usually what it is for a season these days. It's somewhere between like 12 and 13, right?
Yeah. They haven't announced like who the actual character designer is going to be, but everyone thinks it's going to be Yamamuro, because that's who, like, it looks like did the character designs on the image that they released. I'm excited though.
Yeah, I look forward to watching it in a few years when we finally get to it.
We'll have to do something, because you can't have new Dragon Ball stuff coming out and just ignore it.
No, I think what I should at least do is start pushing through the manga just so that I understand what's happening.
It's a pretty fast read, right? So
Yeah.
and then the final announcement, which I actually think was the final announcement at the event, is that they will be bringing back Dragon Ball Super in another way, in that they're remaking the Beerus arc, and then they're going to follow it actually with Resurrection F and the others. But starting in 2026, they're calling it Dragon Ball Super Beerus, but it's basically like Dragon Ball Super Kai. And the reason they're not using Kai was like there was some internal, this is the at least rumor, there was some internal fear and discussion because Kai was actually kind of a flop in Japan. And we can talk about that more when we like get to, I don't know if we'll ever watch Kai as part of this show, but when we get to like the time period when Kai kind of came out, we could talk about like what the reason for it was and how it did and all that kind of stuff. But it was not well received in Japan. So they are kind of staying away from using it. But the idea is they're going to be redoing the Beerus arc, trying to bring it more in line with the manga. And what it sounds like is they're trying to make like a definitive version of at least the Beerus and Resurrection F arcs, where you could say that's, if you want to know the story, that's the thing that you should watch. Right? Because right now there are 3 versions of the Beerus story. There's the manga version, the anime version, and the movie version. And each one of them has at least something in it that the other one doesn't.
Oh. Okay.
So in order to get the complete picture of the Beerus saga, you actually kind of need to watch all 3, or look at all 3. And I think the idea here is, okay, let's make a definitive version of this. But if you watch like the trailer and the video and the visuals and stuff, it doesn't seem like they are re-recording a ton of dialogue. There may be some that they're re-recording just to bring certain lines and things more in line to again make that sort of definitive version. But it wasn't like all new show. It's not like a pure remake. It is more of a Kai, where you're going to see a lot of the same visuals. They're going to be enhanced. The CG visuals especially are going to, like, the models are going to be updated and tweaked and things. So I don't know. How do you feel about?
Well, because my understanding is that the original production for these things were under a lot of pressure and time constraints.
Yes.
And the art in a few episodes is really rough as a result.
Yes.
So I think it's nice that they're willing to go back and like change those things to make it something that I think fits more with what they want to put out and also what the fans want to see. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, especially like you're saying, if it's supposed to be a definitive version, then now I can watch that instead of having to watch 3 different things.
Except guess what? You're on this show, so
yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway. I know. I was speaking as somebody who's purely a fan, not as somebody who's worth doing a podcast on this stuff.
But no, it's this one's a real tough one, because it's like, part of me is like, okay, if you really are gonna like bring this just like more in line with the manga and have like a definitive, like, you actually maybe explain what happened to the Pilaf gang, because that's like, I don't know if it's ever explained. Maybe it is in the movie, but not in anything. It's weird, where the reason why they're children again is like only explained in one of the 3 things that exists up to this point. But then also like this piece is different in this one, and that piece is different in that one, and blah, 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 blah. And you could kind of fix that. And then, yes, 6 episodes, like, cause that's the original, the manga, not the manga, the anime is 14. Now, that means, though, that you are going to lose probably some of my favorite bits from the Super anime, which is like, there's the whole episode where Vegeta takes his family to the amusement park.
See, that does seem like something that should stay in.
And And granted, the premise for it is just a repeat of the premise in it's Dragon Ball Z, where he's like, if you can land a hit on me, I'll take you to the park.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, if you can land a hit on me, I'll take you to the amusement park. But as opposed to what happens in Z, where he's just like, all right, let's go, and then you never see it, you get to see it. You get to see Vegeta take Bulma and Trunks to the amusement park and like ride on the kiddie train.
Nice.
And they take him out to eat, and like they get him octopus, and the octopus, it turns out, was like maybe not, I don't know, cooked properly or whatever, so the ink splatters all over him. And then
nice.
And then he gets invited to like lead the luau, and everyone's like, guy. And he just like gets really pissed, powers up, blows everyone back with like the strength of his ki, and blasts out of there. And Trunks is like, oh, Dad left. And Bulma's like, I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did. Probably gonna lose that though, right? So that's like, sometimes some of Dragon Ball's best stuff is that silly, goofy stuff, and that's my other concern with this. Is they said, like, who was it? It might have been Akio Iyoku who said it. Like, and I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something like, everyone just thinks of Beerus as their weird uncle who has silly dialogue, and we're going to make him a more serious threat. And I'm like, no, he is like the weird, he's a cat. Like, he'll be playful and friendly and cuddly 1 minute and then destructive the next. Yeah. That's what he is. Toriyama had the script for Battle of Gods originally that had, I don't know if the character was called Beerus. I can't remember if it was maybe called something differently, but it was like a character that was the god of destruction, who was like a lizard and very like nasty and evil and serious and a big threat, and like the next Frieza or Cell or Piccolo or whatever. And he was like, no, everything is too serious. Make him into a silly kitty cat.
2 thumbs up, no notes.
And so, yeah, that's like, I have a little bit of concern with that. Like, yes, you're remaking it, you're looking for the definitive version, and that's all well and good, but
don't forget, the silliness should be part of the definitive version of anything Toriyama.
Exactly. Because you're already by the nature of taking it from 14 to 6 episodes, you probably do have to get rid of some of the silliness, because it's just that you have to get rid of some of the non-plot propulsive stuff.
Sure.
Right? I'm going to be sad to lose Vegeta taking Trunks to the amusement park, but I get it. You have to, for the sake of time.
You'll still have that in the other version, at least.
Right. But if you take the silliness out of Beerus and you just give me 6 episodes of some dead-ass serious Dragon Ball stuff, my favorite stuff in Daima was all the silly stuff. Everyone's favorite stuff in Daima was all the silly stuff.
Yep.
What did everyone like best about Daima? Do and Ku and Hybus.
Yep. For good reason.
So please don't lose sight of that. But they did say, like, this is gonna be 6 episodes, and then they're gonna do 6 episodes of Resurrection F, and they haven't announced like episode counts or anything on like the stuff that comes after, but it's a reasonable assumption to assume that essentially what they're going to be doing between fall of 2026, when Beerus is supposed to start airing, and whenever they actually start airing the Galactic Patrol, what they're going to do is air this sort of like Super Kai, right, where they'll do 6 episodes of Beerus, 6 episodes of Resurrection F, maybe a handful of episodes for the 6 versus 7 tournament. And then was the Tournament of Power right after? Oh, no, we got to do Goku Black, and then the Tournament of Power. So we'll probably get like somewhere around the Dragon Ball Super currently stands at like 100, is it 38 episodes? I'm going to look that up real quick. I just looked up Dragon Ball Supper.
And there's just shots of all the Saiyans eating in Dragon Ball.
I mean, I would watch that too. There's 131. So you're gonna take this 131 episodes of Dragon Ball and maybe condense it down, or Dragon Ball Super, and condense it down into like 50, maybe.
Dang.
So that you air, or maybe a little more than 50, right? But somewhere around there, so that you get about a year-ish of a Dragon Ball Super remake in the build-up to then continuing on with Galactic Patrol. Is sort of my presumption.
Your head canon, so to speak.
It's my expectation, maybe. I don't even want to say expectation, because I don't expect anything.
So is it your hope?
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Because again, what are you gonna lose when you lose some of this filler? You're gonna probably lose the baseball episode as well.
No.
Which, I mean, because you have to.
Unacceptable.
So, stuff like that.
I need the definitive version of that episode.
So yeah, that's all I mean, it's there's some big news in there, right? Like if you're a gamer, especially if you're like a person who plays MMORPGs, like that's some pretty big potential news.
Yeah.
If you have been dying for the Moro arc to get adapted because you refuse to read, A, start reading, please, but B, here you go. Like it's finally happening. Also, this ends up being really big news, even though neither one of us fall into this camp. This ends up being really big news for figure collectors also, because there have never been figures of Moro, or I think like, is it 7 or something like that? Is like the other, like there's several antagonists within the Moro arc. Like there's never been figures of them, because they tend to only make figures of characters that appear in the anime. And so now there's this potential for figures of a character that people have really wanted figures of for a long time, which is not something that we normally talk about, but it's potentially really big news. So.
Sure. Especially with some of the price tags I've seen on some of them at the conventions we've been to.
Yeah. That is in no small part the reason why I don't figure collect. I can't afford it.
I'm not made of money, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's other reasons. I personally, like, just for me, I kind of don't get it. Like,
I mean, I do to a point, because like I think it's for folks that like to decorate their space with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do to a point, but I agree with that. But like, I personally don't kind of really get the like, I'm gonna get every version of Goku that exists. Like, one would be fine. I also don't get the people who buy figures of like characters or from arcs or things that they didn't like just for the sake of completion. Stuff like that is like,
I get you.
Stuff like that. I'm not making any judgment on it either. It's foreign to me. Like, that is a concept I have a difficult time wrapping my head around.
Understood.
But no, this is like the Galactic Patrol or Galactic Prisoner or whatever you want to call it, that's straight up purely exciting news. I'm excited about that.
I'm looking forward to it.
So, and we'll do something with it, with the Beerus thing being only 6 episodes, we'll probably do more or less kind of what we did with Daima, where we'll just wait for all 6 episodes to come out and then talk about it a little bit without doing any crazy super deep research or something.
Sure.
Same with like Resurrection F, and then as the Moro arc airs, we'll probably, I don't know, do something similar maybe. I haven't figured that out entirely yet, because I do kind of want to like keep the more research kind of driven part of our show sort of in that flow that we've been going. And
Sure.
maybe we just do sort of casual catch-ups on new stuff, and we'll have to then revisit Moro in 5 to 9 years. But it is exciting. It's very, very cool stuff. And it points to, if nothing else, right, it at least does point to like the possibility of eventually some of these questions with the who retains ownership of Dragon Ball moving forward getting worked out, and the I will say it was frustrating to not hear anything about the return of the manga, but they also didn't say, oh, the manga is going to be coming back and starting over or something, where everything that Toyotaru has been building for the last few years is just being chucked aside, right? So
yeah, don't want that.
So that's at least like they at least it's still out there potentially. I do hope he gets to finish off his story at least. But yeah, that was the Genkidamatsuri. It's some fairly big news for all of us.
Absolutely.
And
lots of good stuff.
Yeah. And like we said, there's going to be some cool stuff coming up on our show. And if you want to get in a suggestion for our March Madness tournament for this year, feel free over the next few weeks to throw something our way. But I'm leaning towards the dating game one right now, because I think I have a really fun idea for a tiebreaker for that.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I have a really fun idea for a tiebreaker for that. So, yeah. If someone's got a better idea and they're like, oh, you should do this instead, and that sounds like a great idea, then feel free to speak up, because I take all ideas under advisement. And
sure.
And at the very least, even if we don't do it now, maybe we would do it in the future, right? So
that's always a possibility.
So with that said, I think we'll bounce out of here for this episode. Unless you got anything else with the news or anything else.
Nope, but I think we've covered pretty much everything at this point.
Yeah. Nice catch up. Nice get us back to ground zero or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's probably not appropriate. We don't worry about what's appropriate anymore, though, because...
why bother, right?
Because gestures at life.
Yeah. Nothing matters.
Oh, you have to laugh, because otherwise...
Otherwise, you cry.
Yes, everything is terrible except for Dragon Ball, so stay with us.
Silver lining.
So stay with us, have some fun. Forget about life for, an hour every other week.
Exactly.
And we'll catch you all in the future.
Bye, y'all.
Cool.
Final Form is written and produced by Tom Gwelly. It is performed by Dan Kinney and Tom Gwelly. Our webmaster is Dan Kinney. Our theme music is provided by YouTube content creator GVG Kid. Want to learn more about the Dragon Ball universe, including concept art, behind-the-scenes interviews, and recommendations from Jelli and Bekinney? Connect with us on social media. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Final Forum Pod. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you receive your podcasts. And of course, make sure to share it with your friends and family and help us spread the word of the glory of Lord Frieza. The Frieza Force thanks you for your listenership.